Hi, folks. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. It's gone 9 o'clock already, and I thought I'd just do a quick video there. A friend of mine contacted me the other day, asked me to do some due diligence for him, some research on a property he's looking at buying up in the northeast in County Durham. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, and you might not be, I suppose, because this industry hasn't been up there for quite a while. But County Durham used to be a centre of coal mining. Northeast did. So if you buy a property in County Durham, there is a potential that you could buy a property over an old coal mine. Now, they call them coal mine report areas. Okay, so if it is in the vicinity of a coal mine, then it's called a coal mine report area, and it's sometimes mandatory to get a coal mining report or advisory, or your lender might want it. So why is it so important? Well, there's certain risks associated with having a property over a coal mine. Firstly, subsidence. So if the mine gives way, then it falls in. Surrounding area collapses in. So that's something to be really aware of. Now, this is certainly more of a risk where they've been doing what they call shallow coal mining. Now, shallow coal mining means they're no shallower than 30 meters. So it could be 30 meters, it could be 50 meters if it's shallow coal mining, depending on the type of seam, depth of seam, etc. But it won't be any shallower than 30 meters. But you think about that, 30 meters isn't a huge amount of space, really, is it? And if it collapses, it's got to go somewhere. So it goes down, potentially taking, like I said, the land around it down. So that's one of the risks. Another one is gas emissions. So coal mines can be associated with gases like methane, which are can be dangerous to health, can explode if they haven't been vented properly. So they get like a build-up. So this can seep into buildings as well. So there is a associated risk there. And then you go look at, is there potential future mining, either underground, which is possible, or open cast, which, if you've got properties there, then they're not going to do open cast mining on your property. But if there's a seam of coal half a mile away in land which is accessible, then they might do open cast there. And then you have the dust and debris that comes with open cast mining. So they recommend you have a coal mining report, and it's called just trying to remember the name. I think it's a CON 29M. So it's capital letters CON 29M for Mike. Okay, it's CON 29M. So I think you're always advisable getting one of these done if you're buying in a coal mining area. Certainly, if it's a coal mining report area. So, what are the impacts on the property then? Well, if you're in a coal mining area, it can impact on price. So, if you're over a coal mine or between seams of a coal mine or in the vicinity of it, do you know that? I'm not going to be rude here, but do you know the difference between a shaft and an adit? Well, a shaft is a near horizontal opening into a mine. An adit is a vertical shaft. If you're on they call them zones of influence. So if you're in a zone of influence, this can affect your property values. So this is why you need to be aware before you buy, because you don't want to be paying too much for this. It doesn't mean you can't buy it, but you might end up paying too much if you're not aware of this. Mortgage lenders can often require virtually all the time a coal mining search before approving a mortgage, as they're concerned about potential risks to the property stability. So, it needs doing, doesn't it? And then there's legal and regulatory requirements. Your conveyancer solicitor will typically advise you on whether a coal mining search is necessary and what, if any, of the risks are identified. And the other thing to think about is building insurance, because you're going to have higher premiums if there's risks of subsidence, or they won't cover you for subsidence and stuff like that. Insurance companies will do anything not to pay out, so you need to take that into account. Make sure you've got the right sort of building insurance for the property you're buying. Now, the good news is there's a whole raft of information from the Coal Authority, and if you go on there, you can find out exactly what's going on in that area, or maybe not exactly what's going on in that area, but what records the Coal Authority holds of that area. So they'll have maps that show coal seams, shows pit entrances, like I said, shafts or adits. It'll show tips, because don't forget, out of these coal mines there's always waste as well. Now, the thing with coal waste is that it's high in sulfur, which can poison the ground. So it's another thing you've got to be aware of. And if it's a tip, as long as you're not developing the land, it may not be a problem. However, it needs to be considered. So they have all these things, and they will show you potential open cast mining that has happened over there or may be happening. It'll warn you of any interest in doing underground mining in the future. Obviously, with reports, there's no definitive answer. They can only say this is what the information we have up to date, because in the future it might change. You might get a government says, right, let's start digging up coal again. You might, yeah. So it's something to be really aware of. Don't go into and people are really attracted to County Durham because it's a cheap area to invest in, or it's seen as a cheap area to invest in. So what I would say is, go in with your eyes open, do your proper due diligence. If you don't know how to do due diligence, I do, and I'm launching a course on due diligence in the near future. So if you're not sure on doing due diligence, look out for my course. I'm also going to do a podcast on it where I'll go a little bit more in depth into this and what happens, and keep listening out for that, because I said I haven't recorded that podcast yet, but I will be recorded by the end of the week. It'll be recorded and sent off, and I imagine it'll be live in 3 or 4 weeks' time. So I thought that was interesting for people who are buying properties up in the northeast, Cumbria, or anywhere where there has been mining in the past of any sort, because it goes across. Obviously, if there's been other sorts of mining around there, silver, tin, lead, whatever, you need to be aware of it, and it could affect the value of property, insurance, mortgage, etc. So anyway, that's all for me. I hope you enjoyed that little short snippet, and I'll be back with some more very soon. Take care.